Welcome to Leading Voices in Federal Contract Management, a series of conversations on Federal News Network with experts across the federal industry about the unique challenges of managing federal contracts and how best to address them. I'm Vanessa Roberts, and for this first session, our guest is Ashish Kott, the CEO of Technomile. So let's start with a little bit about you and your passion for the world of government contracting and what you learned in the first part of your journey toward founding Technomile while running a really successful consulting business.
So Technomile was founded in 2014, where I got engaged with several companies around this region who were doing business with the government, and they were on a path of transforming their back office using commercially available cloud technologies. And what I noticed was a lot of those platforms that were very successful in a commercial world, they were not very well suited for these organizations who were trying to use the latest technology do business with the government. A lot of these sales processes and the life cycle of the managing government contract is so unique that a lot of these systems were just taking a lot of time, configurations, customizations, and the total cost of ownership of these platforms was way higher than what these companies thought that it would be when they started that journey. And there were a lot of common pain points across these customers. When they were dealing with their business development process, proposal management process, identification of the opportunities, and we saw an opportunity to disrupt that space and create a platform that would provide these companies unique advantage where while still using the commercially available cloud platform, but really build them for managing the government complex life cycle process.
Right. Well, it is so different, right? It's just a completely different beast.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about those experiences and what you learned along the way that led you to found Technomile. Talk a little bit about the company for those people who might not know that much about it, and a little bit more deep into what you just mentioned about the uniqueness of the federal contracting world.
Sure, absolutely. So we are local here in Northern Virginia. We are based in Tyson's Corner. I guess now they call it Tyson's, Virginia. And we provide an end-to-end solution to manage the entire life cycle of a government contract. And we are purpose-built for the unique needs of government contractors, aerospace and defense organization, and any business that is doing business with the government. And the Technomile platform, there are two core capabilities. There's a pre-award capability and the post-award capability. Our pre-award capability, what we call Growth Suite, enables companies to transform their business development process and allows them to streamline the entire life cycle all the way from identifying the opportunities to which opportunity they should pursue, how they should do their capture process, and then assign and manage the various tasks and activities to track that life cycle, which allows them to increase their win rate. And then our post-award capability, what we call governance, risk, and compliance solution, allows the contracts team and the subcontracts team to streamline and manage the entire life cycle of a government contract, and allowing them to easily meet the compliance requirement, reduce risk, and increase the overall profitability on these contracts.
That's a really important piece, that end-to-end aspect of it, because it is really challenging if you don't have that full view, right?
Yeah.
To be able to manage your contracts actually as they grow and expand, and you renew them, right? Because a lot of these things go on and on for many years in these programs.
Right.
But that initial focus you talked about, it was pre-award on the growth side. What led you to expand the solution, though, when you were thinking about it? We touched on the end-to-end part. What were the needs that you saw that contract teams had that they really did need beyond the end-to-end piece of it? What were some of the other things that led to that?
So it was somewhat of a natural extension. What we were offering was the pre-award capability, and a lot of clients experienced tremendous benefits of the solution that we were offering: improved collaboration, better visibility onto these contracts, and a better decision-making process, which allowed us to kind of look at what we were offering pre-award, and there was a lot of demand for the contracts team, which is a post-award capability, to have that similar solutions. And there was nothing in the marketplace that was offering end-to-end pre-award and post-award capability. And we saw the benefits that the pre-award team was getting from Technomile solutions by enabling the tighter integrations, more seamless integrations, and of the pre-award, post-award process into one single platform would be so much beneficial. And that's how the post-award capabilities came in play. So when we look at the contracts team, there were huge pain points. Majority of the workflow that the contracts team was doing was all manual, or they were using series of spreadsheets in order to manage the contract process, which involves creating of contract and then tracking of those contracts. And a contracts team was really very tightly involved in the pre-award process. So if you are a contract person, you are engaged on generating teaming agreements, generating NDAs, which is really collaboration between a pre-award and a post-award teams. And a unique platform is providing them key differentiator, and connecting these systems together was a natural extension of taking our product to provide benefits to our clients.
So you talked about how important it is to integrate the post and the pre. Talk a little bit about the value of the data and the analytics that are then available to the team by having all of that end to end.
Sure. So for example, if you are using a certain teaming partner on certain pre-award pursuits, and if you have a track record of using that organization in your post-award activity, you working with them, then you have a lot of track record on how they delivered that particular work. Same thing goes with what type of agencies you are engaged with. The data that you gather during the pre-award process helps the post-award team, and when the post-award team is working, when a contracts team is engaging with these various agencies, they know how the contracting officer reacts to certain clauses, how they react, what type of compliance initiative was required. That now helps pre-award team in terms of making better pricing decisions, because now they have a unique advantage when they go and compete on these opportunities when they come up for recompete.
So you're kind of just helping the entire team be better before and after.
Exactly.
Perfect. Well, let's talk a little bit more now about the government risk and compliance tools. What are some of the common pain points that those are helping these teams with that they find in these deals with the federal government?
Sure. So one of the key parts that is different in the dealing with the government is you have a buyer who is setting up the terms to the seller. In a lot of contracts management space that are commercially focused, it's the seller who sets the term. So in this market, you have a buyer who is the largest buying organization in the world, is setting up these terms, and the companies have to comply for them. That involves various clauses that they have to meet, the specific compliance needs on funding requirement, specific deliverables requirement tracking, and then there is a lot of changes that happen on a dynamic basis. There are several clauses if you talk about the COVID world, there were a lot of new clauses that were added, and a lot of organizations have to figure out how to adjust when the COVID started. So our platform allows these contracts team to really get to the top of these dynamic changes that the government is doing and reacting to them, and have a strategy in how order to respond so that they stay in compliance, and the contracts team becomes much more aware of how to respond to meet these complex needs.
So I'm assuming that really applies to things like the FAR, changes that evolve there, set-asides for small business or women-owned businesses, Buy America clauses, and talk about the ease and ability for making those adjustments. It's happening pretty naturally in this product, correct?
Yes. So historically, before Technomile platform came into the marketplace, majority of the government contractors were tracking all of these clauses manually. Our platform has a capability where we track with all of the clause changes as they are happening. So one of the features that we have is an ability to stay up to date with all of the clauses, both FAR, DFARs, and even the agency supplements. So as they are evolving, as they are changing, as a contract administrator, you can track what changed from the time you issued the contract with what is the version of those clauses that looks like today, and how your responsibility is changing based on how these clauses has evolved.
Maybe talk about what are some differentiators that you think really do help in the federal marketplace. Beyond that, I mean, that seems amazing, but there's probably other things that are unique and pain points too.
Sure. So when you look at the contracts management space, we see it as there are two unique players in the space. One is a commercially available contract lifecycle management system, and then there are niche players, vertical players, that are providing this capability as well. So commercially available contract lifecycle management systems requires a lot of work for configuration, customization to really meet these requirements. For example, the clauses that we were just discussing. Then there are several automation and workflow requirements like OCI vetting, small business reporting, CPAR responses, contract closeout process. All of these are not available in the commercially available platforms that requires tremendous modifications. And when you look at some of the unique niche vertical players that are providing this capability, many of them, either their core capability is ERP system and a contracts is just a bolt-on for them, or the others who are just not providing latest state-of-the-art platform. And what we have done is provide this latest platform, and you can then integrate with the choice of your ERP system. And one aspect of this providing latest capability is the user interface and user experience, which is very important as the new workforce is entering into the world. You need a platform that works on how they operate. So mobile capabilities and having the latest interface that are available. So we have done a best of the breed capabilities that we offer today, which sets us apart from these unique niche players as well.
Let's talk a little bit about that and that ability to be the right thing at the right time for the the young and new people that are coming into government contracting. We'll do that right when we come back. We're going to take a brief break. We'll be back to continue our conversation with Ashish Kott, CEO of Technomile.